What if I told you that you don't need a backyard to grow fresh fruit? Most people believe fruit trees belong in sprawling orchards where their roots can spread endlessly and their branches can reach toward the sky. That's why millions of gardeners never even consider planting one on a balcony, patio, or small backyard. But modern horticulture tells a completely different story. Many fruit trees don't need acres of land to thrive. In fact, some actually perform better when their roots are slightly restricted inside a container. Instead of wasting energy growing into giant trees, they redirect that energy into producing flowers, sweeter fruit, and surprisingly generous harvests. The secret isn't finding a tiny tree. It's choosing species that are biologically adapted to life in confined spaces. Some naturally develop compact root systems that remain productive for decades. Others evolved in rocky mountain soils, where limited root space is normal. A few even respond to container life by producing fruit earlier than they would in the ground. Today, we're counting down 10 fruit trees that thrive in pots and small spaces. Each one possesses unique biological adaptations that make container growing not only possible, but remarkably successful. Whether you have a sunny balcony, a compact patio, or just one corner of your yard, these fruit trees can transform even the smallest space into a productive mini orchard. And make sure you stay until the very end, because our #1 fruit tree is one of the easiest and most rewarding container trees you can grow. It produces abundant harvests, adapts beautifully to pots, and can remain productive for many years with surprisingly little maintenance. Plus, after our #1 pick, I'll share one professional growing technique that encourages healthier roots, stronger trees, and larger harvests in nearly every container fruit tree. Let's begin. 10. Fig tree. Starting our countdown at number 10 is a tree that has been quietly thriving in rocky landscapes for thousands of years, the fig tree. At first glance, figs seem like an unlikely candidate for container growing. After all, mature trees can become impressively large, but their hidden strength lies beneath the soil. Unlike many fruit trees that constantly search for new territory, fig trees naturally tolerate restricted root systems. Throughout the Mediterranean, they've evolved in cracks between limestone cliffs, rocky hillsides, and shallow soils where root expansion is naturally limited. Instead of responding with poor growth, the tree shifts more of its energy toward flowering and fruit production, rather than producing endless new branches. This biological response makes container growing surprisingly effective. The tree's thick, leathery leaves also reduce water loss during hot weather, allowing it to handle occasional dry periods much better than many other fruit trees. For container growing, choose a pot that's at least 18 to 24 inches wide with excellent drainage. Place it in a location receiving at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight each day. With annual pruning to maintain a compact shape, a potted fig tree can remain productive for decades while rewarding you with sweet, honey-like fruit every season. Its natural ability to thrive in confined root spaces makes it one of the most dependable fruit trees for small gardens. But our next tree evolved a completely different strategy, one that allows it to remain compact while producing some of the most fragrant fruit you can grow at home. Number 9. Meyer lemon. Coming in at number 9 is one of the world's favorite container fruit trees, the Meyer lemon. Unlike many citrus varieties that become enormous orchard trees, Meyer lemons naturally develop a dense, compact canopy, making them exceptionally well-suited for life in a pot. Their real advantage, however, lies in their evergreen biology. Because the tree keeps its leaves year-round, it continues producing energy whenever conditions are favorable. Those glossy green leaves are coated with a thin, waxy cuticle that reduces moisture loss while protecting the tree from intense sunlight. This allows Meyer lemons to remain remarkably resilient in warm climates and adapt well to container conditions. Even more impressive is their extended flowering cycle. Instead of producing flowers during only one brief season, healthy Meyer lemon trees often bloom multiple times throughout the year. It's not unusual to see fragrant white blossoms, small green lemons, and ripe yellow fruit all on the same tree at once. For the best results, plant it in a 16 to 20-inch container filled with fast-draining citrus potting mix. Provide full sun, consistent watering, and occasional feeding with a balanced citrus fertilizer. Because its roots naturally remain relatively compact, the Meyer lemon rarely becomes root-bound as quickly as many other fruit trees, making long-term container care much easier. It's a tree that delivers beauty, fragrance, and fresh fruit from one surprisingly manageable plant. And our next fruit tree has evolved one of nature's smartest survival strategies, allowing it to produce sweet harvests while staying perfectly suited for even the smallest growing spaces. Number 8. Pomegranate. At number 8 is a fruit tree that seems almost indestructible, the pomegranate. Native to some of the hottest and driest regions stretching from the Middle East to Central Asia, pomegranates evolved where rainfall is scarce and soils are often rocky and unforgiving. Those harsh conditions shaped one of the toughest fruit trees you can grow in a container. Its narrow, glossy leaves lose very little water, while its extensive network of fine roots absorb moisture efficiently even when the soil begins to dry. Perhaps its greatest advantage is its remarkable drought tolerance. Unlike many fruit trees that immediately suffer when watering is inconsistent, pomegranates slow their growth slightly while protecting their developing fruit until conditions improve. This resilience makes them especially forgiving for container gardeners. Choose a 20-inch pot with excellent drainage and place it in full sunlight. With occasional pruning, the tree naturally maintains a compact size while producing brilliant orange-red flowers followed by jewel-like fruit packed with sweet tart flavor. Its combination of drought resistance, compact growth, and exceptional longevity has made the pomegranate one of the world's oldest cultivated fruit trees and one of the very best for containers. Number 7. Olive tree. At number 7 is a tree that has survived some of the harshest climates on Earth for thousands of years, the olive tree. Long before it became a symbol of the Mediterranean, the olive evolved on rocky hillsides where rainfall was unpredictable, summers were brutally hot, and soil was often shallow and nutrient-poor. Those harsh conditions shaped one of the toughest fruit trees you can grow in a container. Its greatest survival tool is hidden in its leaves. Look closely and you'll notice they're small, narrow, and covered with a silvery coating. That isn't just for appearance. Those tiny reflective hairs bounce a portion of the sun's radiation away from the leaf while reducing moisture loss. At the same time, the thick, waxy surface slows evaporation, allowing the tree to stay productive even during long, dry periods. Below the soil, olive trees naturally develop a dense network of fibrous roots rather than one massive root system. That makes them surprisingly comfortable growing inside containers, where they continue absorbing water and nutrients efficiently without demanding endless space. Another remarkable adaptation is their slow growth rate. Instead of racing upward every season, olive trees invest their energy in building strong wood, healthy roots, and long-term resilience. That patient growth makes them much easier to maintain in small spaces compared to many fast-growing fruit trees. For container growing, choose a pot that's at least 20 inches wide with rich, well-draining soil. Place it in full sun and provide consistent watering during flowering and fruit development. With minimal pruning and proper care, a potted olive tree can remain productive for decades while adding timeless beauty to your patio or balcony. It's proof that sometimes the slowest growing trees become the longest lasting. But our next fruit tree offers something completely different. It stays naturally compact while producing fragrant blossoms and colorful fruit almost year-round. Number 6. Calamandan orange. Taking the number 6 spot is a citrus tree that seems perfectly designed for container life, the Calamandan orange. Unlike many fruit trees that grow large before producing meaningful harvests, Kalamandan orange naturally develops a small, dense tree, rarely needing extensive pruning. That compact growth isn't the result of human breeding alone, it's part of the tree's natural architecture. Its leaves perform another remarkable job. Their glossy surface is covered by a protective wax layer that helps reduce moisture loss while shielding delicate tissues from intense sunlight. This allows the tree to remain healthy through long, hot summers with relatively little stress. One of the most fascinating features of Kalamandan is its continuous growth cycle. Instead of producing fruit during only one short season, mature trees often carry fragrant white blossoms, tiny green fruit, and fully ripened orange fruit at the same time. This happens because the tree responds quickly whenever temperature, moisture, and sunlight become favorable, allowing several flowering cycles throughout the year. For container success, choose a 16 to 20-inch pot filled with fast-draining citrus soil. Water deeply whenever the top inch of soil feels dry, and feed regularly during the growing season. Because of its naturally compact canopy and manageable root system, Kalamandan remains one of the easiest citrus trees for patios, balconies, and small gardens. It's beautiful, productive, and surprisingly forgiving for beginners. And our next fruit tree has evolved a unique survival strategy that allows it to recover quickly after pruning while rewarding growers with one of summer's sweetest harvests. 5. Peach tree. Halfway through our countdown is a fruit tree many people assume requires a large orchard. In reality, certain dwarf peach trees thrive remarkably well in containers. Their secret lies in biology rather than size. Peach trees naturally produce fruit on young branches created during the previous growing season. Every year, they generate fresh fruiting wood, allowing the tree to renew itself continuously through careful pruning. Instead of harming the tree, regular pruning actually stimulates vigorous new growth, encouraging more flowers and better fruit production the following season. This regenerative ability makes peaches especially well suited to container growing, where maintaining a compact shape is essential. Their broad leaves also perform photosynthesis with impressive efficiency during warm weather, converting long summer days into rapid fruit development. Unlike many fruit trees that require years before producing worthwhile harvests, dwarf peaches often begin fruiting while still relatively young, making them highly rewarding for home gardeners. For the healthiest tree, use a container at least 20 to 24 inches wide with rich, well-draining soil. Place it in full sun and provide consistent watering during flowering and fruit development. With annual pruning and proper care, a potted peach tree can reward you with fragrant spring blossoms, followed by juicy fruit that often tastes sweeter than store-bought peaches. Sometimes the biggest surprise isn't how large a fruit tree becomes, it's how much fruit a small tree can produce. 4. Guava. Entering our top 4 is a tropical powerhouse known for its incredible resilience, the guava tree. Native to the warm regions of Central and South America, guava evolved in environments where high temperatures, seasonal droughts, and heavy rains constantly tested its survival. Over time, it developed an extraordinary combination of flexibility and strength. Its thick, leathery leaves lose moisture slowly, helping the tree remain healthy even during periods of intense summer heat. Its root system is equally impressive. Rather than spreading aggressively across large areas, guava develops a compact but efficient network of roots, capable of supporting heavy crops inside relatively small containers. Perhaps its most remarkable adaptation is its ability to recover after stress. Whether it's a hard pruning, temporary drought, or minor transplant shock, healthy guava trees often respond by producing vigorous new shoots and fresh flowering growth once conditions improve. This remarkable resilience makes guava one of the most forgiving fruit trees for container gardeners. Choose a 20-inch pot with excellent drainage and place it where it receives full sunlight throughout the day. With regular watering and occasional feeding, the tree rewards you with fragrant white flowers, followed by aromatic fruit, rich in vitamin C and tropical flavor. Guava doesn't simply survive in containers, it often flourishes. 3. Apple tree. Claiming the number 3 spot is a fruit tree that has been cultivated for thousands of years, yet many gardeners still believe it needs a large backyard to succeed. The truth is, certain dwarf apple trees are biologically well-suited for container growing. The secret begins with modern dwarfing rootstocks. Unlike standard apple trees that devote enormous amounts of energy to growing taller every year, dwarf rootstocks naturally limit the tree's size while improving its efficiency. Instead of producing excessive branches and foliage, the tree redirects much of its energy toward developing flowers and fruit. But there's another fascinating adaptation at work. Apple trees are naturally seasonal. During winter dormancy, they store carbohydrates deep inside their roots and woody branches. When spring arrives, those stored energy reserves fuel an explosion of blossoms long before the tree produces a full canopy of leaves. This efficient use of stored energy allows even compact container trees to support surprisingly heavy harvests. Their root systems also respond remarkably well to pruning. As roots become slightly confined inside a container, careful root maintenance encourages the growth of thousands of tiny feeder roots. These tiny roots absorb water and nutrients far more efficiently than thick structural roots. For the healthiest container apple tree, choose a pot that's at least 20 to 24 inches wide with rich, well-draining soil. Place it in full sun where it receives at least 6 to 8 hours of direct light every day. With annual pruning and proper pollination, a dwarf apple tree can reward you with crisp, flavorful fruit for many years, while taking up only a fraction of the space most people imagine. Sometimes the biggest harvests come from the smallest trees. But our runner-up has evolved an entirely different strategy. Instead of surviving cold winters, it was designed for tropical conditions, where rapid growth and constant renewal are the keys to success. 2. A veto tree. Taking our number 2 position is one of the most misunderstood container fruit trees of all, the dwarf avocado. Many gardeners assume avocados simply cannot survive in pots. That's true for large commercial varieties, but compact cultivars tell a completely different story. One reason is their root system. Unlike many fruit trees that depend on deep, aggressive roots, avocado trees naturally develop thousands of delicate feeder roots located close to the soil surface. These specialized roots absorb oxygen, water, and nutrients with remarkable efficiency. When planted in a well-draining container, those feeder roots remain healthy and active without needing endless room to spread. Another extraordinary feature is the tree's evergreen biology. Instead of shutting down completely during winter, avocado trees continue producing energy whenever temperatures remain favorable. Their thick, leathery leaves reduce water loss while remaining highly efficient at capturing sunlight throughout the year. The result is steady, consistent growth rather than one short burst each season. For container success, choose a 24-inch wide pot with excellent drainage. Never allow water to remain around the roots because avocados require abundant oxygen below the soil surface. Provide full sun, regular watering, and occasional feeding with a balanced fertilizer. With patience and proper care, a compact avocado tree can become an impressive centerpiece on a sunny patio while rewarding you with creamy homegrown fruit. It's a remarkable example of how understanding plant biology can completely change what's possible in a small space. And now we've reached the #1 fruit tree on our list. This remarkable tree combines rapid growth, exceptional productivity, and one of the most resilient biological designs in the entire fruit-growing world. 1. Dwarf mulberry. Taking the crown as the ultimate fruit tree for pots and small spaces is the dwarf mulberry. At first glance, it doesn't seem extraordinary, but biologically, it's one of the toughest and most productive fruit trees you can grow. Mulberries evolved across diverse climates, ranging from temperate forests to hot subtropical regions. That wide natural distribution forced the species to become incredibly adaptable. Its deep genetic resilience allows it to tolerate heat, temporary drought, pruning, and even occasional neglect far better than many traditional fruit trees. One of its greatest strengths is its incredible growth response. Each time the tree is pruned, dormant buds hidden beneath the bark awaken and rapidly produce vigorous new shoots. Instead of weakening the tree, careful pruning often makes it denser, healthier, and even more productive. Its broad leaves are also remarkably efficient at converting sunlight into energy, fueling rapid branch development and continuous fruit production throughout the growing season. Unlike many fruit trees that produce one harvest each year, dwarf mulberries often ripen fruit gradually over several weeks, providing repeated harvests instead of a single picking. For container growing, select a pot at least 20 inches wide with fertile, well-draining soil. Place it in full sun and water consistently during periods of active fruit development. With only occasional pruning, a dwarf mulberry can remain compact for years while producing baskets of sweet berries that birds, children, and gardeners alike find almost impossible to resist. Its combination of resilience, productivity, and adaptation makes it one of the finest fruit trees for container gardeners anywhere in the world. Bonus pro tip. Before you plant your first fruit tree, here's one simple technique that professional growers rely on every season. Instead of using a regular plastic nursery pot, choose a fiber grow bag or an air pruning container whenever possible. Why? As roots reach the container wall, they're naturally exposed to air. Instead of circling endlessly inside the pot, the growing tip stops and the tree responds by producing dozens of new feeder roots behind it. This process, known as air pruning, creates a dense, healthy root system that absorbs water and nutrients far more efficiently than roots that continue circling. The result is a stronger tree, healthier growth, and often better fruit production over the long term. It's one small change that can make a surprisingly big difference. And growing fruit isn't about having the biggest yard, it's about understanding how plants naturally grow. When you choose fruit trees that are biologically suited to container life, even the smallest patio, balcony, or courtyard can become a thriving home orchard. Whether you start with a fragrant Mayer lemon, a resilient olive, or the incredibly productive dwarf mulberry, you're not just growing fruit, you're growing a living ecosystem that rewards you season after season. If you enjoyed this countdown, let us know.